What if the key to unwavering calm in your chaotic modern life was meticulously documented nearly 2,000 years ago? A secret, not of esoteric rituals, but of profound mental discipline, available to anyone willing to look. This isn't just history, it's a practical guide to tranquility, hidden in plain sight within the private journal of one of history's most powerful men. Imagine an emperor, Marcus Aurelius, at the helm of the vast Roman Empire. He faced relentless wars on the frontiers, a devastating plague that decimated his people, betrayals from within his inner circle, and the crushing weight of absolute power. Yet, amidst this maelstrom, he cultivated a profound and resilient inner peace. This wasn't luck, nor was it divine intervention. It was a specific, actionable method. He recorded this method, not for publication, not for an audience, but for himself. A personal diary, a collection of meditations, filled with practical exercises and reflections designed to fortify his mind against the turmoil of existence. What specific insights did he uncover? What timeless strategies for mastering one's inner world did he deem so crucial to record? Strategies that we, in our modern age, may have tragically forgotten or overlooked. Today, we delve into these meditations, not as mere ancient philosophy to be passively studied, but as an active toolkit for mental resilience. We will uncover a set of remarkably practical techniques, principles so potent that they can genuinely reforge your response to the stresses and anxieties of 21st century life. This is about transforming ancient wisdom into your everyday strength. What if the daily anxieties you grapple with, the persistent sense of overwhelm, the deep yearning for meaning and calm, could be directly addressed by principles forged in the heart of the Roman Empire nearly 2 millennia ago? The answers, the strategies, the path to a more serene existence are perhaps more accessible and more relevant now than you could possibly imagine. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor from 161 to 180 AD, was not just a ruler but also a profound Stoic philosopher. His meditations offer a window into the mind of a man grappling with immense responsibility, seeking virtue, reason, and tranquility amidst the ceaseless demands of his station. It's a raw, honest account of his efforts to live a good life according to Stoic principles. Stoicism, the philosophical school that shaped Aurelius, teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means of overcoming destructive emotions. It doesn't advocate for suppressing emotion, but rather for transforming it through clear judgment and inner calm. The goal is eudaimonia, or human flourishing, achieved by living in accordance with nature and reason. This is not about being emotionless, but about wisely navigating our emotional landscape. Central to Aurelius's practice and to Stoicism itself is the dichotomy of control. This principle distinguishes between what is within our power and what is not. Our thoughts, judgments, desires, actions, these are ours to command. External events, the actions of others, our reputation, our health, to a large extent, these are not entirely within our control. Peace begins when we truly internalize this distinction. Some things are in our control and others not. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher who heavily influenced Aurelius, famously stated, "When we fret over things we cannot change, the weather, past mistakes, other people's opinions, we surrender our tranquility." Aurelius constantly reminded himself to focus his energy solely on his own responses, his own character, his own actions. This is the first gate to inner peace. How does this apply today? Consider the endless news cycle, social media pressures, or workplace uncertainties. We cannot control these external factors, but we can control our reactions, our interpretations, and how much mental space we allow them to occupy. By focusing on our own choices and efforts within our sphere of influence, we reclaim our mental peace and agency, a powerful shift in perspective. The second crucial technique is objective judgment of impressions. Aurelius stressed the importance of seeing events and people as they truly are, stripped of our subjective opinions, emotional reactions, and preconceived notions. Things do not touch the soul, for they are external and remain immovable, he wrote. It is our judgment about things that disturbs us. For example, if someone criticizes you, the event itself is merely words spoken. The pain or anger comes from your internal judgment. This is terrible, they are wrong, I am a failure. Aurelius would advise to separate the raw event, words were said, from the added layer of interpretation. This doesn't mean ignoring injustice, but rather responding from a place of clarity, not reactive turmoil. This practice requires constant vigilance. When an impression, an event, a thought, a feeling arises, the Stoic approach is to pause and examine it. Ask, what is this in itself? What is its true nature? By dissecting impressions into their objective components, we rob them of their power to unsettle us. This skill is like a muscle, strengthened through consistent daily practice and self-reflection. In our modern world, bombarded by sensationalism and emotional appeals, objective judgment is a superpower. It allows us to navigate misinformation, to remain steady during disagreements, and to make decisions based on reason rather than fleeting passions. It's about cultivating an inner sanctuary of clarity, untouched by external hype or negativity. This is not about being cold, but about being wise. The third pillar of Aurelius's inner peace strategy is the focus on the present moment. He frequently reminded himself, "Do not let the future disturb you, for you will arrive there if you arrive, with the same reason you now apply to the present." Anxiety often stems from dwelling on past regrets or future fears, neither of which exists in the here and now. By anchoring our attention to the present task, the present sensation, the present interaction, we disengage from the mental narratives that generate distress. Everywhere and at all times, it is in thy power to devoutly accept thy present fortune, Aurelius wrote. This is not passivity, but an active engagement with reality as it is, moment by moment. It is where life is truly lived. This ancient advice prefigures modern mindfulness practices. When you find your mind racing, gently bring it back to your breath, to the sensations in your body, to the task at hand. This consistent redirection of attention builds mental discipline and creates pockets of peace throughout even the most hectic day. It's about inhabiting each moment fully. Fourth, Aurelius embraced cosmopolitanism, the idea that we are all citizens of a single, universal community. He often reflected on his connection to humanity as a whole, seeing himself as a limb of the larger body. "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee," he famously noted. This perspective fosters empathy and reduces feelings of isolation. Recognizing our shared humanity and interconnectedness can be a powerful antidote to selfishness and alienation. When we act for the common good, when we treat others with fairness and kindness, we affirm our place within this larger whole. This sense of belonging and shared purpose contributes significantly to inner contentment and reduces the friction of interpersonal conflicts. In today's globalized yet often fragmented world, this Stoic cosmopolitanism is urgently needed. Seeing ourselves as part of a global family, responsible for each other and the planet, can inspire meaningful action and provide a broader perspective that transcends petty, personal grievances. It reminds us that our individual struggles are part of a larger human story. Closely linked to cosmopolitanism is the fifth principle, service to others, or working for the common good. Aurelius, despite his immense power, saw his role primarily as one of service to the Roman people. That which is not good for the swarm, neither is it good for the bee. He believed that our nature is fundamentally social and rational, and that we find fulfillment in contributing to society. Finding purpose beyond oneself is a cornerstone of a meaningful and peaceful life. When we dedicate our efforts to something larger, whether it's our family, community, or a cause we believe in, our personal anxieties often diminish in significance. This outward focus shifts our attention from our own worries to the needs of others, fostering a sense of usefulness and connection. This is an active path to contentment. This doesn't require grand gestures. Small acts of kindness, fulfilling our responsibilities diligently, contributing our unique talents, these all constitute service. Aurelius urged himself to love the humble art you have learned and take your rest in it. By focusing on our duty, however small, we align ourselves with the natural order and find a quiet satisfaction. Another vital, though perhaps challenging, Stoic concept embraced by Aurelius is amor fati, the love of fate. This means not just accepting, but embracing everything that happens, including adversity, as if we had chosen it ourselves. It's about seeing the universe as a perfectly ordered system, where every event has its place and purpose, even if not immediately apparent to us. This doesn't imply passivity or fatalism in the sense of giving up. Rather, it's about working with what is rather than against it. If an obstacle appears, it's not a roadblock to be lamented, but a new path to be skillfully navigated. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, Aurelius powerfully stated. Adversity becomes fuel for virtue. Loving our fate means extracting the good from any situation, learning the lesson, finding the opportunity for growth. It's a radical acceptance that transforms suffering into strength. For instance, an unexpected illness could become an opportunity to practice patience. A job loss could be a chance to reevaluate one's path. It's about finding the silver lining, not as a platitude, but as a discipline. Complementing amor fati is the practice of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils or negative visualization. This involves contemplating potential misfortunes, loss, failure, pain, or death. The purpose is not to dwell morbidly, but to mentally prepare to strip these events of their shock value and to appreciate what we currently have. By imagining difficult scenarios, we rehearse our Stoic responses. What if I lost my job? How would I act virtuously? What if I faced criticism? How could I respond with reason? This mental simulation builds resilience and reduces fear of the unknown. It also cultivates gratitude for our present circumstances, which often seem more precious when contrasted with potential loss. Seneca, another prominent Stoic, advised, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." When we've already considered the worst, its actual arrival is less jarring, less paralyzing. This isn't about expecting the worst, but about being unflappable if it occurs, because we have considered our resources and our principles in advance. One recurring theme in the Meditations is the impermanence of all things. Aurelius constantly reminded himself of the fleeting nature of life, fame, possessions, and even empires. Alexander the Great and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both. This perspective helps to relativize our anxieties and ambitions, promoting humility and a focus on what truly matters, our character. Contemplating impermanence isn't meant to be depressing, but liberating. If everything is transient, then our present worries are also temporary. It encourages us to savor the present moment, to invest in enduring virtues rather than fleeting pleasures, and to let go of attachments that cause suffering. It's a call to live fully and virtuously now, because this moment is all we truly possess. Aurelius also emphasized the importance of routine and self-discipline. He wrote about waking early, ready to do the work of a human being. This structure provided a framework for practicing his principles. Inner peace isn't a passive state. It's the result of consistent effort and the cultivation of virtuous habits. It's the daily practice that forges the tranquil mind. Establishing a daily routine that includes time for reflection, for practicing these Stoic exercises, even for just a few minutes, can be transformative. Whether it's journaling, meditation, or simply a conscious effort to apply these principles in daily interactions, consistency is key. This builds the mental fortitude Aurelius himself sought. A significant portion of the Meditations deals with handling difficult people, the ungrateful, the arrogant, the malicious. Aurelius reminded himself that such people act out of ignorance of what is good and evil. His approach was not to retaliate in kind, but to respond with understanding, patience, and a commitment to his own principles, refusing to let others dictate his inner state. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. but I cannot be harmed by any of them, for no one can implicate me in ugliness. This preemptive reflection prepares the mind and reinforces the dichotomy of control. Their behavior is theirs, your response is yours. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse, but rather choosing a response that aligns with reason and virtue, rather than being dragged down to their level. It might mean setting boundaries, or practicing compassion, or simply not taking their negativity personally. The goal is to preserve one's own equanimity and integrity, regardless of external provocations. The concept of the inner citadel is powerful in Aurelius. This refers to the fortress of the mind, a place of refuge built from reason, virtue, and correct judgment, into which we can retreat regardless of external chaos. Be like the promontory against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. This citadel is built, not found. This inner citadel is not a place of escapism, but a source of strength from which to engage with the world. It's fortified by consistently applying Stoic principles, focusing on what you control, judging impressions objectively, living in the present, and acting for the common good. Each virtuous act, each rational thought, reinforces its walls. So how can we, in the 21st century, practically apply these nearly 2,000-year-old strategies? The first step is awareness, recognizing the patterns of our thoughts and reactions. Keep a journal, like Aurelius, to note your impressions and how you respond to them. This self-reflection is the starting point for any change. Practice the dichotomy of control daily. Before reacting to a stressful situation, ask, is this within my control or outside of it? If it's outside, practice acceptance. If it's within, focus your energy on virtuous action. This simple question can radically shift your experience of stress and empower you to act more effectively. Challenge your impressions. When a strong emotion arises, pause, ask, what is the objective event here and what is my added judgment or story? Try to describe the situation like a neutral reporter. This creates a space between stimulus and response, allowing for a more rational and peaceful engagement. It's about seeing things as they are, not worse than they are. Cultivate present moment awareness. Throughout your day, take brief pauses to notice your breath, the sensations around you, the task you are performing. Even a few seconds of focused attention can interrupt the cycle of worry. Anchor yourself to the now. This is where your power lies, where life is experienced, and where peace can always be found. Expand your sense of connection. Reflect on how your actions impact others and how you are part of larger communities, your family, your workplace, humanity. Engage in small acts of kindness or service. This shift from me to we can significantly reduce feelings of isolation and increase your sense of purpose, which are vital for inner peace. Experiment with negative visualization carefully. Briefly consider potential challenges, not to induce anxiety, but to appreciate what you have and to mentally rehearse resilient responses. This can make you more robust and grateful. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, Aurelius noted, implying a need for preparedness and strength. The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius is not a quick fix, but a lifelong practice. It's a commitment to ongoing self-improvement and the cultivation of virtue. The rewards, however, are immense. A resilient mind, a tranquil heart, and the ability to navigate life's inevitable challenges with grace and wisdom. It is a path to true freedom. These ancient techniques are not outdated relics of a bygone era. They are profoundly relevant because human nature, our struggles with fear, anxiety, anger, and the search for meaning, has remained remarkably constant. The chaos of the Roman Empire has parallels in the complexities of our modern, interconnected world. The secret of Marcus Aurelius, then, is not some arcane knowledge, but the disciplined application of simple, yet powerful philosophical principles. It's the understanding that inner peace is not something to be found externally, but something to be cultivated internally, through conscious effort and the mastery of one's own mind. In summary, Aurelius teaches us to focus on what we can control, to judge our impressions objectively, to live in the present, to see ourselves as part of a larger whole, to serve others, to accept fate, and to prepare for adversity. These are the keys to unlocking a resilient and tranquil mind, as effective today as they were in ancient Rome. The power lies in their consistent, dedicated practice. The journey towards inner peace, as exemplified by Marcus Aurelius, is one of continuous learning and self-mastery. It requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to confront our own thoughts and habits. But the destination, a life lived with greater calm, purpose, and wisdom, is undoubtedly worth the endeavor. His meditations remain a timeless guide for anyone seeking that path. So the question remains, are you willing to apply these ancient strategies to your modern life, to build your own inner citadel, brick by thoughtful brick? The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius offers not just solace, but a practical blueprint for a more serene and meaningful existence. The power to transform your inner world is, and always has been, within you.